Hare Krishna. So I am very happy to be back with you because practically I'm taking a session after a couple of months. I feel right. It's been something or the other which is going on. So either we have some festival or we have some guest speaker. So I've not been able to conduct a personal session. Happy to be again doing some service because of which I could do some reading and hearing. So where are we right now? Apart from ISKCON Joe, where are we? हाँ अभी कहाँ है? इंग्लिश को मैंने हिंदी में बताया और कुछ नहीं. Yeah, we are about to start the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, how many of you are coming for the first time today? अब आज प्रथम बार आया है. One पहले अब रही 1 2 3 4 5 ठीक है. We welcome you to the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But there is no loss because this chapter is a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So it's never a loss. कभी भी there is no loss in attending any chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What to speak about the last chapter or the first chapter. So there is never any loss. Any section of the Gita or any section of the Bhagavatam, wherever you attend, it's always going to be beneficial. It is like a ripened mango. आप कहीं से भी खाइए आपको वही स्वाद आएगा. So it doesn't mean कि हम हमारे हिसाब से कुछ भी उठा के पढ़ना चालू कर दें, but if we have come to a discourse and if we are in the middle of something or end of something, we still try and get something out of it. ऐसा नहीं कि there is a loss to it. So you will get benefited by attending this session. So we have finished chapter number 17 quite some time ago. Do you remember anything? What was discussed in chapter 17? कुछ याद है आपको? What was the topic of discussion in chapter 17? Before we start, we just recite the Mangacharan prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Paragamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Tam Jivan Sadhuvetam Savadutam Parijana Saritam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagara Lila Shri Vishakanitamsa Krishna Parama Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kata Radha Kanta Namaste Laptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shubhamse Pranami Hari Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vaivasya Patitana Bhavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. प्रभु जी अभी आप चेयर How many of you have attended all 18 chapters? सारे 18 चैप्टर अटेंड किया आपने? attend किया? सारे 18 चैप्टर अटेंड किए? हाथ ऊपर कीजिए थोड़ा. Wow. Some credit goes to you all for coming for all 18 chapters, right? कितना 2 साल हो गया होगा? नहीं, 1.5 साल हो गया होगा. 1.5 साल तो आराम से हो गया होगा because 17 chapters मतलब आराम से 1.5 साल तो हो गया होगा. That's good. Good. Very good. Yes. So, what do you remember from the last chapter? कुछ याद है? 17 chapter में क्या discussion था? Yeah. Divisions of faith. Okay, that's good. अच्छा, ठीक है. What else? Yeah. So in different modes, how we can offer charity, sacrifice, austerity. Yeah. So yeah, that's we discuss these things. Uh, we discuss different types of faith. Okay, for those people who are atheistic, they still have some faith. They have some kind of people are not completely atheistic. They believe in something or the other. Uh, so Krishna mentions to get out of these paths or the faiths, one has to align with. How does all these are different kinds of faith? Faith समझते हो आप? श्रद्धा. लेमैन लैंग्वेज में लाइक आप किसी न किसी में तो मानते हैं ना, मतलब अगर भगवान में नहीं मानते तो कम से कम अपने बॉस में मानते हैं, या अपने माँ बाप में मानते हैं, या अपने देश के प्रधानमंत्री में मानते हैं, किसी में तो मानते हैं ना. There is some faith, right? That is what Krishna is discussing. Those people who are atheistic, those who don't believe in God, those who don't believe in me, they have some belief in something. What kind of symptoms they have, and what kind of work they do. If they do sacrifice, if they do austerity, if they do charity, in which mode that is. So to get out of these different kinds of faith, Krishna recommends something. What is that? Hari Om. What is that? Because he gives a solution. ना हमने अभी तक इतना तो देख लिया कि हर एक चैप्टर में if he's taken up a topic, like one chapter is there where different material modes of nature are explained. Then at the end of the chapter, he explaining how you can get out of those material modes of nature. Similarly, at this chapter also, he explains that how you can get out of this faith and realign yourself. He says Om Tat Sat. So what does Om Tat Sat mean? You do is offer it to you, offer it to me. Okay. By devotional service, ये तो कॉमन है. सीधा डिवोशनल सर्विस बोल दो हर एक चैप्टर में. वो तो अभी तक आया नहीं है. अभी आएगा 18 चैप्टर में. अभी आया नहीं. Krishna says you align everything with the Shastra. Scriptures mention, because when you don't know what is to be followed, what is not to be followed, you try and refer to an authority, and Scripture is the best authority to tell you what you're supposed to do. So Krishna says that you align with the Shastra, you stick to the Shastra, you hear from a Guru, you hear from a Parampara, you hear from a bona fide teacher. Then what will happen? The truth, जो सच्चाई है, वो you'll be you'll be in सच्चाई आपके सामने रहेगी. You'll be awakened with the truth, and that will, otherwise, it's like we are driven by three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. ठीक है, तो हम एक गाड़ी में घूम रहे हैं, सिटी में पूरा दिन गाड़ी में घूम रहे हैं, तो दैट इज लाइक गोइंग अराउंड इन गुडनेस, पैशन एंड इग्नोरेंस. बट अगर आपको प्लेन पकड़ना है तो कहाँ जाना पड़ेगा? बट आप बोलेंगे नहीं मुझे हवा में उड़ना है, बट मैं एयरपोर्ट नहीं जाऊंगा, तो तो हवा में जा पाओगे? नहीं जा पाओगे. सिमिलरली यू हैव टू कम टू सत्व गुण टू elevate yourself, to go up, to go beyond the three modes of material nature. You have to come at least till sattva, and then beyond that you have to start right. So these things can be told, these things can be learned through the shastra, through a guru, through a parampara, and that is what Krishna is mentioning in the 17th chapter. So, like for example, on a runway, many times आपने वीडियो में देखा होगा कि एक गाड़ी भी जाती है, रनवे पे गाड़ी भी दौड़ रही है, चल रही है, और एक प्लेन भी चल रहा है. But after some point of time, after both of them pick up speed, the plane can go in the air, but the car cannot go in the air. That is the difference between humans and animals. Then in the both of them are in the material world. Both of them are driven by three modes of material nature. But in the human form of life, you have the chance to get out of this cycle, to fly and get out of this cycle. I mean human form. But how? Through the help of the Shastra, to the help of the scriptures, to the help of Guru and Parampara. If you disregard scriptures, Krishna says, अगर जो लोग शास्त्र को नहीं मानते हैं, then there is no hope. उनके लिए कोई hope नहीं है. There's no hope. So from the scriptures we can learn all these things. Like we feel that the sky is unlimited, but scriptures give us knowledge that no, there is something beyond the sky. Like for example, if a child wants to know who my father is, then there are two ways. I'm not going to ask you the same question that I ask in SOS. Okay? You know already the answer. But there are two ways. What are the two ways? One is that you ask the mother, who is my father? So the mother will say, he's your father. That's it. End of story. Other is that, hey, no, I don't believe my mother. Okay? So I will find out by genetic fingerprinting. And then you start taking fingerprints of all the male members possible. After 800 years, you'll get 200 samples. उसका भी वापस अगर आप थोड़ा और फिल्टर आउट करेंगे तो आपको उसके बाद nobody is going to live 800 years. So this is a case of a person who is not accepting authority. Doesn't accept authority. But a person accepts authority. So in the same manner, if you want to know all the truths, if you want to know all the reality, absolute knowledge, if you want to gain, then we have to go and refer to the scriptures. We have to go and refer to a guru, bona fide guru. So Vedas is like our mother. It's like our mother, who is like an authority who tells you everything. Okay. Now this brings us to chapter number 18. Actually, 18th chapter is actually Bhagavad Gita finishes in the 17th chapter. 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita खत्म हो जाता है. It finishes. 18th chapter is primarily a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Again, Krishna summarizes everything because again Arjuna is asking a question: त्याग करूँ या renunciation करूँ? Should I त्याग or should I renounce? So he asks a question. So it's like a summary of the 18 chapters. Arjuna wants to have a final reconfirmation, final word of confirmation from Krishna. So that is why you will find certain things in this chapter which are repeated. यार ये तो हमने पढ़ा कर्म योगा में, ये तो हमने पढ़ा ध्यान योगा में, ये तो हमने पढ़ा भक्ति योगा में, तो ये सब हमने पढ़ लिया. तो you will find certain things which are repeated. So today's chapter is smile. बस smile कीजिए. लोग इतने सीरियस है. My face is not very pleasing to anyone. है ना? People get very serious. So smile. S stands for a summary of Karma Yoga, which is the first 12 verses. Mostly I'll be speaking about that today. M stands for modes of nature, different modes of nature. ये हमने पहले भी देखा है. And the summary of Gnana Yoga, again a summary. Then again Krishna tries to explain a little bit of Karma Yoga. That's an ideal worker. Purification through Karma Yoga, purification through Jnana Yoga. ये हमने already देखा पहले chapters में. Again Krishna summarizes them. And in the end, he comes back to love of God, which is the supreme objective. And he closes the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna gives a supreme instruction in the end again, which he had mentioned also in chapter number 9. Verbatim, he will mention again. Verbatim बोलेगा तो? Verbatim बोलेगा तो? Verbatim मतलब as it is. Same cheese, copy paste. Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. He said this in ninth chapter, and he will repeat this in 18th chapter. Again, he's going to repeat. So, and he'll also mention in the end the benefits of reading Bhagavad Gita, the benefits of spreading the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, तो वो सब चीजें एंड में बहुत सारे बेनेडिक्शंस हैं जिन्होंने 18 चैप्टर्स मैं आज ही पढ़ रहा था that one who reads this conversation between you and me with a full faith his all sins get जैसे इसके हम अभी आए थे थोड़े पहले बोर्ड पे बहुत कुछ लिखा हुआ था तो किसी डिवोटीज ने लेके उसे पूरा इरेज कर दिया अभी कुछ दिख रहा था चकाचक लग रहा है ना एकदम वैसा this is this the sins get completely they get completely erased completely finished. One who is Shraddha, full with full faith, hears this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Just by reading Bhagavad Gita, you are getting this benediction. Just imagine. आपको यहाँ से पद यात्रा करने की जरूरत नहीं है घंटों लाइन में खड़े रहने की जरूरत नहीं है या कुछ ऑस्टेरिटी करने की जरूरत नहीं है तपस्या लोग बहुत सारे श्रावण महीना चल रहा है तो लोग चतुर्मास में बहुत सारा कुछ करते हैं जस्ट बाय रीडिंग भगवद गीता वन कैन गेट दिस benediction. 2 verses daily 1 year में आपका खत्म हो जाएगा 2 verses daily in 1 year you can finish out the Bhagavad Gita 700 verses. So Arjuna is over here. If you're carrying a Bhagavad Gita copy, you can please open that. We'll just recite the first words. Arjuna Vacha Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tattvam Ichchami Veditam Yagasya Cha Rishikesha Pratakkeshi Sudana. So Arjuna is asking, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Yaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyasa. O killer of Kesi, demon, master of all senses. So Arjuna is addressing Krishna by two names over here. One is by the name of Kesi Nisudana. Kesi Nisudana is the name given to Krishna for killing the Kesi demon. Keshi demon was a very formidable Rakshas. He had killed, Krishna had killed him. आप लोग वृंदावन आए आपने देखा होगा केशी घाट सुना है केशी घाट हाँ हाँ परिक्रमा में यमुना से थोड़ा आप आगे जाएंगे यमुना के तट पे ही केशी घाट वहाँ पे केशी का वध हुआ था सो हियर अर्जुन इज सेइंग द वे यू किल्ड अ डीमन जैसे आपने राक्षस को मारा वैसे ही मेरे माइंड में एक डाउट है आई वांट यू टू किल दैट डाउट आल्सो I want you to kill that doubt also. So he's addressing doubts as sometimes demoniac. Then we may have doubt that can be quite demoniac. And he's also referring to him as Rishikesha, which is the master of senses. And because he's the master of senses, he knows how to help in getting control over these senses. So, sannyasasya mahabaho tattvam ichchami veditum tyagasya cha rishikesha pritakeshi nisudanam. So, we'll read the translation. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita is finished in the 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is a supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. For those of you who don't have it. The 18th chapter is supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of God is the ultimate goal of life. The same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotional service, yoginam api sarvesham. Of all the yogis or transcendental lists, one who always thinks of me within himself is best. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service and its nature and activity were discussed. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature and the transcendental nature, and devotional service were described. It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by over the words Om Tat Sat, which indicate Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of the Bhagavad Gita has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. So this is, as I mentioned, that this is just a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. This chapter is just a summary, and Arjuna is asking that, my dear Krishna, can you please explain these two words, Tyaga and renunciation? If you see, Tyaga is mentioned as to renounce the fruits of one's work, and sannyas means to renounce both fruits and the. क्या फर्क है? You can raise your hands. ये समझा तो क्या फर्क है बताइए. Yes, true. Okay. Anything else? एग्जाम्पल दे सकते हो आप? हाँ हाँ हाँ. Wait, wait, wait. Sannyas means. So, right, like for example, if a student is studying and if he tops in an examination, gets very good marks, he gives the credit of those good marks to his intelligence? No. He gives to Krishna. Because of Krishna's grace, I've got that intelligence, because of which I got good marks. That is called as Tyaga. Okay, so I did my karma, I did my duty as a student. I was supposed to study. I studied nicely, read and gave an examination. मेरे को अच्छे marks आए. जो मेरा fruit है, that is offered to Krishna. Because Krishna is providing buddhi. Buddhir buddhi mati masmi. He's providing the intelligence. He's providing the intelligence. So कोई सोचता है कि intelligence मेरे खुद का है, नहीं, आपके खुद का नहीं है. ये भी भगवान देता है. ओके, हमारा कुछ भी नहीं है. ठीक है, देखो वो नासा में अटके हुए लोग अभी तक नहीं आ पाए, आएंगे भी नहीं मेरे को लगता है. ठीक है, you can check latest news. So nothing belongs to us, and nothing is in our control, not even our intelligence. And sannyas means karma sannyas. Sannyas means karma sannyas, that you stop doing activities which are related to material dealings, societal dealings. So you purely do actions which are only meant for Krishna consciousness. You purely speak words which are only meant for Krishna consciousness. Your mind continuously dwells on objects which are only meant for Krishna consciousness. So karma and fruits both are offered to Krishna fully. Okay, so this is the difference. This is the difference between both of them. So Krishna immediately answers in the second verse. He says, Shri Bhagwan Vacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nashyam Sannyasam Kavayo Vidu Sarve Karma Phala Tyagam Rahustyagam Vichakshana. So what do you feel? What does Krishna recommend? क्या करना चाहिए? हाँ? What do you feel? What does Krishna recommend? Sannyas या त्याग? त्याग? How many of you feel त्याग? How many of you feel sannyas? And how many of you feel nothing? They are just going above my head. I just came here for some prasad. That's about it. And Krishna definitely recommends त्याग. संन्यास तो पहले भी लेने के लिए ना बोला ना उसने. वापस कैसे बोलेंगे इनमें संन्यास लेने के लिए? संन्यास तो स्टार्टिंग में ही लेने का था ना. right? He wanted to run away and go to the forest, right? He said, नहीं नहीं ये नहीं करेगा, cannot do this, do this, त्याग. So he recommends त्याग. The Supreme Personality of God said the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa, and giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation. Giving up the results. So the performance of activities for results has to be given up. I'll read the statement again for those who are not carrying the book. The performance of activities for results has to be given up. समझा? क्या समझा? You have to, yeah, you have to eradicate the result driven approach. Okay. Anything else? Something else you want to say? For the fruit of mentality. Something else you want to say? No, no, no. That is not mentioned here. Thinking is all speculation. अभी clear बोला है. You have to. I'll again read. The performance of activities for results has to be given up. This is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Again, I'll read. The performance of activities. हम activities करते हैं दिन भर. We do some work, job, some some study, something we do. जो कुछ नहीं करता वो भी कुछ करता है actually. The performance of activities for results has to be given up. So if you are doing any activity with the mentality of getting a desired result and enjoying the desired result, that kind of an attitude has to be given up in all possible scenarios. So this can be outside as well and this can be within a spiritual life also. ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब ये सिर्फ मटेरियल लोगों के लिए एप्लीकेबल है. प्रभु जी अगर मैं कल भक्त बन जाता हूँ, मंदिर में रहता हूँ, तो मेरे को तो आशा तो रहेगा ना कि मैंने मेरा सेवा किया है तो कुछ तो मुझे रिकग्निशन मिले. बराबर? Because this Bhagavad Gita is not saying that this Gita, the book is not meant for spiritualists, it is meant for materialists. ऐसा लिखा है क्या? सबसे ज्यादा कौन पढ़ता है? Spiritualists. This is meant for those who are following more of spiritual path. But yes, this statement is not discriminatory. It is meant for everyone. So the performance of activities, any kind of activities, whether we are working outside as a job, business, student, any activity, helping someone out of love and affection, friendship, helping someone, but expecting some result. आज मैं इसकी हेल्प कर रहा हूँ, कल इससे कुछ लेके रहूंगा. अगर हमें वो आशा है तो बस वो गलत है. That is the wrong thing. Today I am helping you. Tomorrow जब मेरा टाइम आएगा, मंदिर में इतना दान दे रहा हूँ, इतना तो मेरे को पास मिल जाना चाहिए जन्माष्टमी के लिए, है ना? कुछ लोग ऐसा करते हैं ना. मैंने इतना अन्नदान किया है या ग्रोसरी भेजा है, प्रभु जी मेरे को 4-5 पास आप दे दीजिए, मेरे इतने इतने लोग आ जाएंगे, कैलकुलेशन कर लेते हैं. ठीक है? दिस इज fruital mentality. That so you're doing an activity, but you're doing charity, but you're expecting also some fruits in return. Now you're doing austerity. चलो मैं यज्ञ कर लेता हूँ, इससे मुझे पुत्र प्राप्त होगा या धन प्राप्त होगा या अच्छी फसल होगी. So the performance of activities for results has to be given up. I guess a few days ago I met a person. He is saying that I'm starting a new venture. After I start a new venture, I want to come to temple, you do some puja for me. पूजा करेगा, दान भी देगा, और उसके बाद something is expected in. So already कहीं से रिटायर हो गया है, already retirement is done. still starting a new venture, still desiring that I should get something. So this is a very important statement. When I read this, it was like stuck in my mind. The performance of activities for results has to be given up. This is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. But activities leading, but लिखा हुआ है, but activities leading to advanced spiritual knowledge are not to be given up. So you have a marker. Yeah, you can write over here activities which lead to advancement of spiritual knowledge. आप लोग सब चैप्टर नंबर 18 में आ गए हैं, तो अभी आप हमें बताएंगे थोड़ा ब्रेन स्टॉर्म करके कि क्या क्या एक्टिविटीज है which can help us in advancement of spiritual knowledge. वहां से हल्का वहां से लिखिए, ऊपर से लिखिए वन वन पॉइंट करके. पॉइंट नंबर वन बोलिए, हाथ ऊपर करके कोई एक्टिविटीज दैट हेल्प अस इन एडवांसिंग इन स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज. हाथ ऊपर करिएगा प्लीज. Chanting, activities that help us in advancing in spiritual knowledge should be never given up. Should not be given up. Yeah. Or wait. I'll go turn by turn. Suman. Association of devotees. Associate with devotees. Reading Bhagavad Gita. Okay, reading Bhagavad Gita. Yatras. Going for yatras. Yatras. Yeah. Doing services. सेवा. Services. मतलब प्रभु जी को कॉल ना करना पड़े, मैं खुद ही आ जाऊँ ऐसा वाला. आके भी यहाँ वो बातें ना करूँ, काम करूँ मेरा जो दिया है. और हाँ संडे लेक्चर्स लेक्चर हाँ अटेंडिंग लेक्चर्स. डीटी वर्शिप, टेकिंग दर्शन ऑफ द डीटीज. दर्शन ऑफ डीटीज लिखो. दर्शन ऑफ डीटीज. यस विकास. How can you forget that? Honoring Prashad, okay, yes. हाँ रीडिंग में आ गया सब कुछ. और हाँ अबव yes attending and listening kirtan okay. Oh, sacrificing our possessions. Sacrificing our hard earned possessions. Possession नहीं, possession जो भी हमारा धन दौलत है possession है. Yes. Okay, association में आ गया वो actually. Getting out of comfort zone, okay. And book distribution आपका सेवा book distribution के लिए सकते हैं आप. Book distribution. प्रचार करना. Preaching. Book distribution मतलब preaching हो गया, but preaching yeah. ठीक है preaching. और दिनू मॉर्निंग गुड मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम लिख सकते हो. फॉलोइंग अथॉरिटी, फॉलोइंग प्रॉपर अथॉरिटी. और कोई ओके 15 गिव फॉलोइंग 4 एग्जीक्यूटिव प्रिंसिपल्स एंड 4 हाँ आप करते हो क्या फास्टिंग? बस फास्टिंग मत देखो ऐसा. आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट फास्टिंग. So now this is in front of you and this is from you. आप लोग ने इसका यहाँ पे ये बोर्ड पे पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं. These points mention that these activities lead you to advance in spiritual knowledge and these are the activities which you should never give up. This is coming from an audience of the 18th chapter batch of 2024 which is going to pass out after a month on Janmashtami. बिकॉज जन्माष्टमी के बाद मतलब जन्माष्टमी खत्म कर दूंगा मैं ये, और उसके बाद नया चैप्टर फर्स्ट चैप्टर चालू होगा, ये क्लास भी शिफ्ट हो जाएगा और यहाँ पे लोग भी नए आएंगे. So this is the batch of 2024 which says 18 chapters what you should be doing for advancement in spiritual knowledge. Okay, so you can meditate upon this, you can think about this. इसमें से कितनी सारी चीजें हम करते हैं और नहीं करते हैं. Okay, or we how much do we give importance to. All these things are very utmost important. ऐसा नहीं कि कुछ important है और कुछ important नहीं है, but all of these things are utmost important. So these things should not be given up. These things should not be given up. Thank you. Okay. So there are two types of activities. One is nitya karma and another is kamya karma. Nitya karma is something that is nitya है. Nitya मतलब आपको by default करना ही है. मतलब whether you are a sannyasi or whether you are a normal householder, brahmachari, you have to perform these nitya karmas. Okay, like for example, जैसे भी ये पिक्चर में दिखाया है, these boys are doing गायत्री. Okay, it's a nitya karma. Many of them, it's a by default activity like nahana, nitya karma है. You know, bathing, keeping yourself clean, nitya है. ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब किसी के लिए है और किसी के लिए नहीं है. So it is nitya karma. Similarly, standard daily prescribed duties. Example, Brahmanas does Sandhya Varana, so Sandhya Vandana. So this Brahmana boys are doing that. And Kamya karma is karma which is done to fulfill some personal कुछ expectation है, कुछ expectation है. Like sometimes people perform yagya to get a good yield, to get अक्षय तृतीया पे और कुछ करते हैं ताकि हमें हमारा बिजनेस हमेशा अक्षय रहे. There should not be any deterioration. Like for example, these guys are doing again a yagya over here. Can be a putra kamikshi yagya to desire to have a child. Jyotishyama yagya. There are so many yagyas. It is done to with the need of an expectation. Okay, except with the need of an expectation. So sannyas versus tyaga. In sannyas, one gives up kama karmas and performs nitya karmas because it's meant for everyone. So it doesn't desire any fruitive results. In tyaga, one performs all kamya karmas and nitya karmas, but without seeking results. Doesn't have a desire of seeking results out of it. Acting for results has to be given up, but activities leading to advancement in spiritual knowledge, purification, liberation are not to be given up. This is taken from the purport only. So yeah, this is the most important thing. Now, over here, I'll explain this that how in Tyaga, Prabhupada is also giving two examples in these purports. In the next few purports, Prabhupada is giving two examples. One is related to marriage, and another is related to work. Okay, so I'll take one by one each one of them. Now, Tyaga, for example, if somebody is desirous of getting into a grahastha ashram or a get married, then Shastra doesn't forbidden that. Shastras don't forbidden married life. Like if you come to the fifth verse, purport of the fifth verse. If you come to the purport of the fifth verse, says that the marriage ceremony, for example, is considered to be one of these sacrifices. It is called Vivaha Yagna. Should a sannyasi who is in the renounced order of life and who has given up his family relations encourage marriage ceremony? Prabhupada is asking. The Lord says that here that any sacrifice, sorry, the Lord says here that any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivaha Yagya should be encouraged even by persons in the renounced order of life. Sannyasis should never associate with women, but that does not mean that one who is in the lower stages of life, a young man, should not accept a wife in the marriage ceremony. All prescribed sacrifices are meant for achieving the supreme Lord. Okay. Now I'll explain this because this is a discussion that needs to be explained. So a sannyasi who wears a saffron dress, saffron dhoti kurta pehante hai, saffron kurta pehante hai, knows that outside world is full of Maya. इसमें अगर कोई जाएगा तो फंस जाएगा. So shouldn't he advise a young man or young boy to stay away from marriage life, or not get wedded, or how can he allow one to get into a marriage life? So that secret is explained in this chapter. That secret is explained in this chapter. That hence marriage should be performed in a religious and a regulated way. Religious and a regulated way. Okay, like for example, and as a duty to serve the Lord, and as a duty to serve the Lord. Like for example, when a boy is comes to an age where he is supposed to get married, he accepts a girl which is chosen by the parents. Of course, the boy also gets an opportunity to meet the girl, and with mutual consent, they both get married. The boy gets married in front of fire sacrifice, in front of all the demigods. The fire sacrifice resembles that all the Devi Devtas are present. And now बोलेंगे सर प्रभु जी कहाँ देवी देवता कहाँ है दिखे ही नहीं. So that fire sacrifice resembles that. It's married in front of the parents and all the elder relatives. He takes a vow that yes, I will follow, I will protect this girl and live a duly married life on religious principles. This is the ideal way which is mentioned in the Shastra. Not that one gets married and then nowadays people they go to a court and they register their marriage and then they come and tell their parents that we have got married. That is not religious. That is irreligious. That kind of a marriage without a consent of the parents is not Vedic. It's irreligious. Okay, it is not Vedic. It is irreligious. So suppose most of common है जैसे कोई one becomes an earning member by the age of 27. Parents will say, "अच्छा, okay, now you're earning well. We should look out for a girl for you." It's a very common thing. And with the blessings of the parents, the boy get married. And then he takes a. Now there is a lot of obedience that he is following. One is that he is getting married to the girl of parents' choice, not of his own choice. So वहाँ पे ही थोड़ा control आ गया. There is some control there itself. You know. Then the second thing is that after one gets married, one takes a vow that I always be loyal to this one woman. Like Lord Ram was Eka Patni Vratam. Just be loyal to one woman. That's another control on the senses. There's another control. And sees every woman as a mother. That's another third thing which comes under control. So automatically by following a religious principle, one's senses are controlled, one gets purified. But if that person is not, uh, and slowly, gradually, he gives up his own attachment. The fact that the fact that he gets married to one girl, he is automatically giving up attachment to many other women in general. So that is a very, but one who is not religiously married, what happens? Uh, like I said, they have a court marriage, and after a year, they may even divorce. Or later after having a child, if the girl is no more beautiful or she becomes very fat, then the person may start roaming around with his college friend also or have an external affair. That is completely irreligious. This happens because the Vedic process is not followed. But if you follow the Vedic process, then, like for example, there was a couple which came from abroad and they were introducing them and they were married for 50 years. So in the introduction, at the end of the introduction, they also mentioned that they are happily married the last 50 years. Because that also is a sign of they being religious. Even if there are differences, even if there are fights, even if there are shortcomings, but they live with a higher principle, which is God in center. That is why Vivaha is a yagya, is a yagya. It's a sacrifice which is offered to Vishnu. So it should not be discouraged, or especially for those boys who are inclined to get married. Otherwise, if you bring them to ashram forcefully, and his mind will continuously dwell on sense objects. Okay, so that is why the training of brahmacharya is there. In the training of brahmacharya, one learns how to control one's senses, and even if there is a need to get married, one gets married with the permission of the guru and the parents. One doesn't go out and does a, inky pinky ponky, father as a donkey. Doesn't do that and pick up choice. Okay, this is not fair. And this is one is good. This is not fair. This one is good. Let's try for 1 year and then okay, let's divorce. It's fine. Let's just divorce. So it's not like that. So for a boy who is marrying in such a way, Vedic way, then taking up the religious principle, then that marriage itself will purify him because he's following the codes of what is mentioned. Like I mentioned, that he agrees to get married to a girl who is of the choice of the parents. So there is some level of detachment. Even when uh, the wife becomes sick or is no more beautiful, will continue, will not look out for somebody else for material enjoyment because he knows that I'm performing my duty and my duty is to take care of the. That's the duty of a husband. He's performing his duty. And the mood in which one needs to do that, that's mentioned in the sixth verse. So never give up acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity. Okay, yagna dana tapa karma nyatyajam karayam evate yagno danam tapaschaivam pavani manishenam. And then the mood in which it has to be performed is mentioned in the sixth verse. If you come to the translation of the sixth verse, it is mentioned all these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Partha. That is my final opinion. So Krishna gives. So the Lord's opinion is the topmost. There are many opinions. अगर आप शास्त्र में भी देखोगे तो there are many rishis, many great personalities. They give their opinion, but amongst that, the Lord's opinion is the topmost. So, as a husband and a wife, one being together, it is just a duty that one is performing in one's own respective position. It's not that like before marriage, one feels like she's like a gulab jamun, and after marriage, one feels she's like a bitter gourd or karela ka juice. It's not like that. This is the understanding on bodily platform. But on an understanding of a religious platform, one knows that it is my duty to protect my wife and my children. And similarly, wife's duty is to serve the husband. This is on the religious platform. And if you are on this platform, then you will automatically be detached and you'll be performing your duties. And that is what Krishna is saying. One has to perform. See, एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्य कर्तव्ययान्ति मे पार्थ कर्तव्ययान्ति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. So sangam tyaktva falanicha. One has by performing one's kartavya, one's duty, automatically detachment will develop. Automatically detachment will develop. But modern day, if you see the modern day culture is absolutely different. So we go to the purpose. Although all sacrifices are purifying, one should not expect any results by such performances. In other words, all sacrifices which are meant for material advancement in life should be given up. But sacrifices that purify one's existence and elevate one to spiritual plane should not be stopped. Everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. That is the highest criterion of religion. Like Srila Prabhupada used to mention that modern day culture is completely ours, completely opposite of this. When Prabhupada was in West, he saw this hippie revolution, the hippie movement. He used to say they are just like vagabonds. Vagabonds are like they would have they have rejected their teachers, they have rejected their leaders, they have multiple partners, smoking, drinking, intoxication, completely different culture. So here Prabhupada is saying that a boy who marries with a sense of duty, because my parents have told me to get married, he begets a child as a responsible person. Like for example, a grahastha ashram is shunyam. It's putram hinam jagat shunyam. Without begetting a child, the grahastha ashram is just like a abominable place. It's like a useless place. So that's why they perform yagya. So in this way, a person becomes gradually purified as they align with religious principles. If you go back to the 17th chapter, Krishna mentions that one has to align the Shastra, and Shastra mentions this way of performing principles for a married life. So as I was mentioning, Prabhupada is explaining this section in two ways. One is through the example of marriage, and another is through the example of work. So seventh verse, Prabhupada mentions about work. Do you have any questions here? Any questions? Hand. Yeah. त्याग और vairagya is is almost the same. It's the same. Detachment. The word vairagya means huh? Huh. So Tyaga is also there by I'm performing actions, but I know that the results of the action are not my because of me. It's because of a higher cause. So I'm giving up those results. So I'm automatically detached. Vairagya is similar to Tyaga. This brings us to the seventh verse. Now this over here Prabhupada speaks about work. नियतस्य तु संन्यास कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहातस्य परित्याग तामस प्रकृत तामस परिकीर्तिता. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. Okay, so for example, there are certain prescribed duties in general. Like for example, those of who don't stay in temple, or those are not monks in general, they don't live a life of a sadhaka or a renunciate. It's by default for them to perform their duty. What is the duty? That after I perform my studies, get a degree, it's my duty to work. It's my duty to get a job, earn, and take care of my parents. This is prescribed duty. One cannot say कि मैं क्यों करूँ ये? My parents should forever take care of me. Is that correct? No, that is not prescribed duty. Prescribed duty is after a certain point, certain age, certain time, one has to know one's duties are, and one has to perform those duties. One cannot run away from that. Okay, fine. My parents took care of me. That is, they are lookout. I'm not going to take care of them. That is running away from prescribed duties. So prescribed duties should never be renounced. तो मतलब on the premise of renunciation, one should not say कि मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of अज्ञानता में आदमी ये करता है. Doesn't have knowledge about it. और बोलता है कि ये नहीं. Srila Prabhupada gives very nice examples in the purport we read it. Work for material satisfaction must be given up. Again, repeating that. Material satisfaction, अपने satisfaction के लिए काम नहीं करना चाहिए. But activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for Supreme Lord, offering food to the Lord, and then accepting the food, are recommended. But cooking for one's own self is not recommended. It's mentioned that it is said that a person is renounced order of life should not cook for. That is why if you see some of the great acharyas like Madhavendra Puri, he used to not he used to not eat by he used to just come. People used to give bhiksha. Whatever used to come, he used to eat that. That's it. You should not even go and beg. हम तो पहले खाते फिर हमारा जब करते हैं ऐसा है. अगर सपोज नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग इफ यू गेट अप एट 8 o'clock, तो ऐसा नहीं कि हम पहले जब कर लेंगे क्योंकि मैं सुबह जल्दी नहीं उठा हूँ. हम पहले तो भी नाश्ते का 8 o'clock का टाइम है, पहले हम खा लेंगे और फिर उसके बाद जब करेंगे. दैट इज अ मूड वी हैव. So cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciples in advancement in Krishna consciousness. You know, so if we are preaching, like somebody mentioned, no, preaching. If you are preaching, and if you are preaching to some boys who are inclined or they should get into a grahastha ashram, we should not push them. नहीं नहीं नहीं, मैं जैसा हूँ वैसा ही तुम्हें बनना है. अगर तुम मेरे ऐसा नहीं बन पाए तो तुम बेकार हो. No. Srila Prabhupada himself in the beginning yeah, throughout his uh, time in ISKCON, he encouraged his disciples not to roam around like that, but to get married. Okay. So in New York and in San Francisco, in New York first, Prabhupada met Mukunda. Mukunda was Mike. Mike. Okay. He was Mukunda Goswami Maharaj later on. Mukunda. And he had a girlfriend by the name Jan. Okay. So Prabhupada said that you cannot roam around like this. You all should get married. So Mike became Mukunda and Jan became Janaki. Okay. That's how Prabhupada performed the marriage of both of them. Personally performed. And Mukunda and Janaki had friends. When they flew to San Francisco, they had friends in San Francisco by the name of Sam and uh, Marjorie. So Sam became Shyam Sundar Prabhu and Marjorie became Malati Mataji. They also had friends. And Jan's sister's name was Jo, who became Jadurani, who has sang. Uh, no, she's not sang. Jadurani has not sang. Jadurani and Roger became Gurudas Prabhu. So these were three couples which Prabhupada personally got them married. And they were the couples which were sent to London, who met the Beatles. So they personally performed marriage. He personally cooked in their marriage. They told them that you should do the fire sacrifice, go around the fire sacrifice, Mangal Sutra. Otherwise, Westerners they don't know anything. They just know how to exchange ring and that's it. That's about it. They don't know anything. Prabhupada taught them everything. But had they told them that because I'm a sannyasi, you should also become a sannyasi. No, he did not say that. He knew that for these guys to go along and continue in Krishna consciousness, they should get married. That's the correct way, rather than living around in an open way. So that's the first criterion that you should get. So it doesn't mean कि अगर आपके पास गर्लफ्रेंड है तो आप तुरंत कल शादी कर लो. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है. इसका मतलब ये है the process is that you get married with the permission and of the guru and the parent, not of your own choice. Okay. And he taught them how to live a grihastha life. He taught them that as a grihastha, one should wake up early in the morning. Otherwise, you tell me which grihastha likes to wake up early in the morning. He taught them one should get up early in the morning at 4:30. Perform Mangalarti, do chanting, make food, offer to the Lord, and then distribute it as prasad. So your house is as good as a temple. He taught them. Otherwise, nowadays, you tell me which couple likes to get up early in the morning. No? By the time people come back from office, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. By the time they finish dinner and speak to the kids, it becomes 11:30, 12 o'clock. How are you going to wake up in the morning at 4 o'clock? There's no chance. But he taught them how you should be living a grahastha life. how you should be living the rest of it. That brings us to the eighth verse. So tyaga in ignorance, tyaga in passion, and tyaga in goodness. Tyaga in passion. Dukham iti eva yat karma kaya klesha bhayatyaje sakritva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga phalam labhet. Anyone who gives up prescribed duty is as troublesome. यार बहुत कष्ट हो रहा है, दुख हो रहा है मुझे. You know, like I'll give you an example. Or out of fear of bodily discomfort, nahi yaar, who will get up and do this? Is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to elevation of renunciation. Like example, sometimes people find it very troublesome to cook food. खाना बनाने में बहुत तकलीफ होती है. You know, कौन बनाएगा? कुछ कुछ लोग सुबह ही खाना बनाते हैं, वही खाना गरम शाम को गरम करके खा भी लेते हैं. कुछ लोग हफ्ते में एक ही बार खाना बनाते हैं. Yeah, if you go to US, you go to US. They cook only once in a week, and they store for 7 days, seven different things, whatever it is, and उसको ही बाहर लाते, गरम करते, खा लेते. That is दुखम इति एव यत् कर्मा. कभी कभार हमारे बेस के ड्यूटीज भी ऐसे ही करते हैं. सुबह का प्रसाद शाम को पा लेते. प्रभु जी कौन करेगा? One should not do that. कुछ नहीं तो you should cook something fresh, dal rice, and offer to Krishna and have it. At least you get to offer it twice in a day. Some सेवा हो जाएगा, कुछ सर्विस हो जाएगा आपका भगवान के लिए. So we should not do that. One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear. कुछ कुछ लगता है ना, प्रभु जी क्यों ज्वाइन करना मुझे? प्रभु जी बाहर कौन जाके कमाएगा? So difficult, so difficult. तो बाहर की दुनिया से भागने के लिए मंदिर आने की जरूरत नहीं है. We don't accept such candidates. Okay. One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. If by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance his transcendental Krishna consciousness, one should not desist out of fear or because such activities are considered troublesome. Such renunciation is in the mode of passion. Like for example, some devotees they come to stay in our base. एक हफ्ता रहते हैं, भाग जाते हैं. रोज कौन उठेगा 4 बजे? 4 o'clock रोज उठा देते हैं लोग मुझे. जबरदस्ती ये नहीं हो सकता है. So this is, one should not desist out of fear of because it is actually the condition troublesome है, इसलिए मुझे नहीं करना है. Getting up early in the morning, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance in Krishna consciousness, one should not desist, one should not resist from doing that. If that is conducive for you, that is conducive for you. People work for 15-16 hours. They come back. You tell them to get up in the morning, not possible. They feel it's much better to take a blanket and go off to sleep. Definitely, it is very cozy and nice, but it is mentioned that one who sleeps during Brahma Muhurta, his sukruti, his pious, जो भी पुण्य किया है ना, खत्म हो जाता है. जो ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में सोता है, ये मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ, शास्त्र कह रहा है. वेदा से ब्रह्म मुहूर्ते या निद्रस पुण्य क्षय करणी. I have the reference. If you feel that ये कुछ भी बना बना के ला देते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है. स्वामी इसके सबके पीछे ये है. Doesn't happen like that. मेरा लैपटॉप नहीं चल रहा है अभी. देखो. So okay. There's a reference for everything. So we should get up on time. हिंदी में है. तो ट्रांसलेट कर सकते हैं ना, गूगल ट्रांसलेट है ना. देखो, ब्रह्म मुहूर्त की निद्रा पुण्यों का नाश करने वाली होती है. This is a reference. There's an entire article for this. You can go through it. Many which ways. My point is proved. So what I'm trying to say is that hey, we should not resist even if it's difficult. It is difficult. It is not so easy to get up early in the morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock. It is difficult. But one should not resist from doing that. One should try to break that barrier. One should not resist from doing that. Also, one should, not think, अरे, I'm going out and earning money, प्रभु जी मैं कितना पापी आदमी हूँ, कुछ अपने अपने मतलब के लिए कमा रहा हूँ, नहीं, कमाओ, but you give a part of that money to Lord's service. You earn and give a part of that money to Lord's service. Don't and do it do it religiously. Don't do it when asked for reminders. Do it as a matter of duty. Then you are performing those prescribed duties in the mode of goodness, but not in passion. फिर वो दुख नहीं होगा आपको. Verse number 9, in the mode of goodness. Karyam iti eva yat karma niyatam krityate arjuna niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyagva phalam chaiva satyaga satviko mata. So, O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it is ought to be done and renounces all material association, all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. Prescribed duties must be performed with this mentality, that is niyatam karma. Reference is given to niyatam karma only. One should act without attachment for result. He should be disassociated from the modes of work. A man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna. And when he gives up the result for Krishna, he's acting transcendentally. So, like daily, one should do one duty: cleanliness, where we sleep. Also, after getting up in the morning, we should clean that place where we sleep. Keep our body, clothes, use fresh clothes, body clean. One should not be lazy enough to do these things. Like for example, there was one young man who came to the temple. He was 32 years old. He was working in a factory. He said that Swamiji, I'm fed up of this, and I want to give up everything and do some मंदिर का काम करना है मुझे थोड़ा छोटा मोटा कुछ भी मिलेगा तो भी चलेगा मुझे. So, want to engage myself in devotional service. Hearing this, his wife started crying there only. My husband wants to leave everything. Who will, if he leaves everything, then क्या मुंह दिखाएंगे हम लोग? So later on, Swamiji called, the devotee called from the temple. Like, you see, you should not prematurely renounce work, because if you do that, your mind will become restless within 2 weeks. 2 weeks, because you are used to working 15, 16 hours. Suddenly, if you work only for 5, 6 hours, that will not go very well. You will become restless. So it's a different thing altogether. Like brahmacharis and sannyasis who stay in the ashram, they can engage their mind 24 hours in thinking about God. They can sleep with God, wake up with God, eat with God, everything is with God, because they have given their mind for that. So one has to know these things. So we have to know our inclination. Like for example, some boy who is wanting to come and stay in the base with it, प्रभु जी हम base में रह के मूवी देख सकते हैं, टेलीविजन अपना सिनेमा जा सकते हैं, पीवीआर या क्रिकेट खेलने आ सकते हैं, then he is not meant for that particular place. He is not meant for that particular place, because very soon he will feel restless in that place, because others will not do that. He will feel restless. Therefore, one should know if one is not purified. One should not artificially try to renounce. पहले भी कहा है ना ये चैप्टर में, पहले भी आया है. One should not artificially renounce. So that's why Krishna, Srila Prabhupada also mentioning over here in the purport that A factory worker doesn't identify himself with the factory nor with the workers of the factory. He doesn't identify himself. Okay? Like there was one disciple of Prabhupada. His name was Jayanand Prabhu. Jayanand Prabhu. Jayanand Prabhu was a temple president of one of the temples, but the temple did not have any money to run day-to-day expense. So what he used to do, he used to go and drive a taxi. Whole day he used to drive taxi. Whatever he used to earn in the evening, with that come back and run the temple on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so that is doing your duty in the mode of goodness. Completely doing in the mode of goodness. Completely detached. Like Shivaji Maharaj, he wanted to surrender to. अब जाके आया ना पंढरपुर भी. He wanted to surrender to Tukaram Maharaj. But Tukaram Maharaj said, "See, Baba, you are a Kshatriya and you are a very nice Kshatriya. Okay? And Kshatriya का duty क्या है? कि to protect the praja. So you have my full blessings. You go and fight, you protect the praja, but you always remember Vithala. That's how it is. And Krishna says the same thing to Arjuna. Ma Manusmara Vidyacha. You fight remembering me, but don't stop fighting. Your fighting itself is a yagya. Your fighting itself is a yagya. So don't stop fighting. Krishna says. 10th verse. Nadveshti akushalam karma. Nadveshti akushalam karma. Kushale Kushalenanusajate Yadi Sattva Samavishto Medhavi China Samshaya. The intelligent renouncer, situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts of work. Like Arjuna killing was inauspicious, right? Arjuna said किसको मारना अच्छा नहीं है. So that is why Arjuna was afraid. The Krishna is saying, don't be afraid. A person who is now again let's read the translation after this example. The intelligent renouncer, situated in the mode of goodness, neither is hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about his work. Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't have any doubts of performing your duty. Don't think that killing is bad because you're killing for a righteous cause. You're killing for a religious purpose. You're killing for because I have sanctioned that killing. So, soldier on the battlefield of and in a battlefield, a soldier who is sent by the government, when he's killing an opposite soldier, doesn't feel that I've done something wrong. He's doing it dutifully. The same soldier, if he's doing the same activity in his own house, किसी के साथ झगड़ा हो गया और उससे बंदूक निकाल के मार लिया तो खत्म हो गया. Surgeon who is with a knife thinks, oh, cutting his body is very bad. I should not cut the body. Then he cannot do the surgery. Then he cannot do surgery. Parents or teachers, if they feel, oh, this child has done something wrong, I should not correct the child because loving is very sweet, but correcting is very, very harsh. So we should not correct the children. Is that correct? No. As a parent, as a teacher, one has to correct if something wrong is being done by the child. So an intelligent renouncer, situated in the mode of goodness, sattva, neither is hateful. दोनों चीजों में he's just focused on doing his duty. The teacher never thinks कि if I scold the student, he will feel bad. No, or she will feel bad. No, he doesn't think like that. He thinks I'm just doing it as a matter of my duty. मेरा कर्तव्य है उसे बोलना ही. Medhavi, that kind of a person is a Medhavi. So, a person in Krishna consciousness or in the mode of goodness does not hate anyone or anything which troubles his body. He does work in the proper place and at the proper time without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. Such a person situated in transcendence should be understood to be the most intelligent and beyond all doubts in his activities. Very beautiful characteristic. This is what we have to achieve. That we don't discriminate basis what trouble he is giving to the body. If you see the dealings of Yudhishthir and Bhima, even after they won the battle with uh, Dhritarashtra was not different. They did not hate him. यार इसके इनके 100 करोड़ हमको कितना तपस्या दिया, इन्होंने ही कितना हमको परेशान किया. They he managed to still go and serve Dhritarashtra food because he was his uncle. He used to still go and do that. Do perform his duty. That kind of a renunciate one has to become. One doesn't have to get bothered by a person in Krishna consciousness or in the mode of goodness does not hate anyone or anything which troubles his body. Because previously इसने मुझे दुख दिया है, उसके लिए मैं भी I will take बदला. No. A real renunciate, a real person in Krishna consciousness is beyond this. He just performs his duty. He just performs his duty. That is, so जैसे we see the example of uh, Dronacharya. Okay, Dronacharya. Even though uh, the son of Drupad, Drishtadumna, was sent to Dronacharya for training, Dronacharya still, as a teacher, as a Brahmana, taught him. He did not say, your father had insulted me, so I will not teach you. No. That's why Dronacharya was in Krishna consciousness completely. Characteristics of that kind of a personality. So, but why to work if one wants to avoid bondage? Krishna says that it is not possible to renounce work altogether. It's not possible to renounce work altogether. We know that work causes bondage, so why to work? This was explained earlier as well. Let's recite this verse. A true renunciate, tyagi. नाहि देहावृता शाख्यं त्याक्तुं कर्माणि अशेषतः यस्तु कर्मा फलात्यागी स त्यागिति अभिधीयते. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to the society. This is Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Purport mein hai ye. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruit of work and for what purpose fruits should be. Okay, it's very clear. That there are three more lines before that. Before this, there are three more lines. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruitive results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. There are many members of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness who work very hard at their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for fruits, for what purpose fruits should be renounced. My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, also is this example. When he used to work in Pepsi Cola company, his entire salary he used to come and give it to Prabhupada. Swamiji, this is for you. And Prabhupada used to ask him, how much you need? Because he was a family man. He had wife and children at that time. He's like, how much you need for your monthly expense? He would say, this is what I need. He would give him those many dollars, and the rest Prabhupada would keep for running the temple fully. And Prabhupada used to tell his disciples, he's a sannyasi. He's a sannyasi. Actually, he was in a grahastha ashram working outside. Prabhupada, this is a reference to that verse. Prabhupada is saying that he's actually living like a sannyasi. Living like a sannyasi. There's another example of Alfred Ford, Amrish Prabhu, who is the great grandson of Henry Ford. Okay, he is one of the richest man, a very rich person. So once there was a devotee called Eklavya Prabhu. He went to meet Alfred Ford Amrish Prabhu at his house. So he saw that at home, Amrish Prabhu would wear dhoti kurta with a tilak, everything. So he asked him, and when he went home, he gave him a nice plate of prasad, which was offered to the Lord. He gave him a nice plate of prasad. So he asked him that, my dear Amrish Prabhu, why do you, wear dhoti kurta at home? You are such a big man, and you are still at home practicing Krishna consciousness. So Amrish Prabhu was telling him that, see, I'm going to live for 60, 70, 80 years. And the 70, 80 years, I'm connected because of my some previous karma to this family, Ford family. I'm connected to this Ford family. Why should I be proud about it? This was a 60, 70 years karma association. And why should I be proud about it? I I should actually, my real position is that I am a part of the Supreme Lord, and I should try and use this facility to make a very big temple for the Lord. And he's doing that. We went to Mayapur right now. He's one of the major supporters of that temple of Vedic planetarium. He has given close to 250, 300 crores for that one temple he made. So he's living like a sannyasi. Living like a sannyasi. This is the way one can live his life. So those of you who like to work outside or who are working, you can continue to work. I tell them, become become the topmost man in your company. You know, become the topmost man and take a vow to make a temple of Krishna. That's what I can tell them. Make the best of it. अगर बाहर काम करना है, full fledged, don't worry, work outside. But dutifully perform your duty towards Supreme Lord who has given you everything. Who has given you everything. Daily we inhale oxygen. इसके लिए कोई अपने को बिल नहीं आता है. उसका बिल आ जाएगा तो आप घर नहीं पाएंगे. So as soon as you wake up in the morning, the Lord gives you oxygen to breathe. The Lord gives you the remembrance. मेरा नाम ये है. ये मेरा नाम है. I mean, it's not like, you don't become like Gajini. You forget हर 15 मिनट में क्या बोला था. Every day in the morning you wake up, you remember, this is my name. This is who I am. But there can be ऐसा होता भी है, लोग उठते हैं सुबह और याद नहीं आता कल क्या था. They lose their memory forever. So we should be grateful for whatever the Lord has given us. Otherwise, what can be done? So yeah, this is the 11th verse. So this is the conclusion. It is practically impossible to give up all activity. Therefore, true renunciation is to perform only religious duties without attachment to the fruits. And the 12th verse is, although various good and bad reactions result from religious duties, one who works without desire and these for these fruits is not subject to them. He becomes liberated from all reaction. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha त्रिविधं कर्मणा फला भवति अत्यागिनं प्रीत्या नातु सन्यासिनं क्वचित्. So anishtam, ishtam, mishram cha. So performing prescribed duties, sometimes there can be a mixture. Like, there can be happiness, distress, and a mixture of both. So, you know, like, if you're not a sannyasi and you've not given up everything, and you are in a married life, sometimes there can be happiness, sometimes there can be distress, and there can be sometimes mishram. There can be a mixture of both. But therefore, that when a Viva Yagya is performed in front of a fire sacrifice, one takes a vow that even during unpleasant times, I will not go into a divorce. I will maintain my stability. I will not upset because I will not upset my parents. I will not disturb my children. That is religious. That is following religion. That is following one's own duty. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. So here it's mentioned the difference for those who are in the renounced order as well as those who are not in the renounced order. So person Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to enjoy or suffer the results of the acts after his death. Yeah, that brings us to the conclusion of the first section, S, which is a summary of Tyaga and summary of Karma Yoga. Actually, this is a summary of Karma Yoga. Again, Krishna is questioning about Tyaga. Sorry, Arjuna is questioning about Tyaga and renunciation. And for Tyaga, uh, Prabhupada gives two examples, one based on married life, another based on work. Both examples Prabhupada is giving in this. Because sometimes people have this illusion that त्यागना मतलब मुझे शादी विवाह भी नहीं करना चाहिए. That's not. But कैसे करना चाहिए? That is explained. अपने मन के हिसाब से नहीं, कैसे करना चाहिए? That is also explained. If you do it with your own policy and your own rules and regulations, then know it is sin and know that it is irreligious. Both these things are very clear. It is irreligious and it is a sin also. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Okay, yes, bro. No, it is not right. अच्छा join भी नहीं करते हैं हाँ. So that is like you are one leg is on one boat and one leg is on another boat. That's it. That doesn't give you peace of mind. Definitely, one always remains very disturbed because after a certain age in one's life, one requires companionship, and when you don't have your better wife or a husband, anyways, to give you companionship, then life becomes very difficult. One still tries to find pleasure. So bachelor is not brahmachari. Being a bachelor is not a brahmachari. Brahmachari is a celibate. A bachelor need not be a celibate. Brahmacharya means celibacy. You are you are not you are completely maintaining a celibacy. That is brahmacharya. And disengaging yourself with any women. That is brahmacharya. Okay. Grahastha means you engage with women, you protect a woman, and you bring a woman home. That's grahastha. And bachelor is as good as an animal because he's free to do anything. He's not accountable, no. कोई accountability नहीं है. Free to do anything. No, that is not. That is a natural process. It reduces when one follows more spiritual standards. If you get up early in the morning, if you chant, if you take prasadam, if you read shastra, then those things reduce. Any other questions? Yeah. That your parents will do. You don't need to worry about it. Astrology is a medical. Astrology is a science. It's a shastric science, but you don't need to worry about it. पहले के ज़माने में two families would meet and they would decide about two people in their respective families. So they would take complete responsibility. And the boy and the girl would have complete faith on the parents, what they have decided. Even after marriage, they feel that though this is not the right selection, still they would go on with it as a matter of religion, as a matter of duty. They will never doubt it. But that training is not there anymore. That is why that doubt arises. Nisudana, demon. It's like a demon. That doubt is like a demon because there is no training. So when you take training, you will understand that yes, whatever my authority has decided, whether it's my parents or my guru, they have decided for my guru. Okay, but training is important. Without training, if we try to आज मतलब there is no hope. There is no hope. If you see whoever in our group, especially all the devotees who got married or who will get married because they're within our group, they are all getting they've done some training. It's not without any training. That is why they are able to tolerate everything. Otherwise, you go and see outside people. I meet so many people. Husband and wife, they live in two different bedrooms. After that, they live in two different houses also. And they have two different cars also, two different dogs also. So training is important. So आज की क्लास के बाद आप लोग एकदम खुश हो गए बोले प्रभु जी ये तो सैंक्शन है इसमें गीता में तो कर ही सकते हैं है बट इसके पीछे द मेन थिंग इज दैट वन हैज टू टेक प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग यू डोंट टेक ट्रेनिंग देयर इज नो वे देयर इज नो होप हाँ व्हाट इज दैट ट्रेनिंग मतलब क्या ट्रेनिंग लेना ब्रह्मचर्य ट्रेनिंग दे नो इट कैसे ले सकते हैं आप आश्रम में ज्वाइन करिए take a break for 6 months, take a break for 1 year, and stay with the devotees. That is your training. Get up early in the morning, have a good sadhana. See, actually, our morning program is not very difficult. It is just for 3 hours, 4:30 to 7:30. 7:30 के बाद तो आप लोग practically जो करना करते हैं. अभी devotees भागवत क्लास अटेंड करते हैं, but earlier when they used to work, they used to go to office. But it's ideally just 4:30 to 7:30. 3 घंटा, सिर्फ 3 घंटा देना है सुबह का. Only 3 hours. You still have 21 hours to yourself. You have to just give 3 hours of the day. And those 3 hours can determine your life. And trust me, you all are young, you can do it right now. If you cross once 30, I can challenge you cannot do it. You cannot do it. You will struggle. Any kind of discipline, any kind of regulation you want to bring in your life, it will be a big, big roadblock. It will be a big mountain to climb. If you are under 30, you will still have a chance to do it. If you are above 30, there is no hope. Body changes, your things change, many things change. Only when you so अभी हाँ क्या वो कहते हैं ना जवान है तो क्या है कुछ ना दिस लाइन ना जुनून है whatever it is. So youth has to be used in that. The more younger you are, the more better it is for you because the slate is empty. Slate is empty. You can learn music faster. You can get up early in the morning easily. You even if you sleep for less hours, you don't feel tired. You can walk parikramas easily. हाँ, nothing at all. If you are old, as you start getting old, very difficult. Okay, so a few yes, Prabhu. Mm. Mm.